Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football, and this is the Sports Page with Bob Case. Today, we have Detroit Tiger, 19-year veteran, all with the same club, the Detroit Tigers. It's Lou Whittaker, second baseman, and Bob and I are going to talk about so many different things with his career, and one of them is the numbers really match. And Bob, you said this on numerous occasions. The Hall of Fame should be calling Lou at some time here in the near future. How he's been overlooked. He's a world champion. 1984 Tigers, obviously, they beat the San Diego Padres. We're going to talk about all of that, but really a guy that gets into the majors and was plug and play ready, if you ask me. He had all the tools, all the skill set. He had the speed, he had the wisdom, he had the comfort level, in my opinion. And Bob, that's what's so impressive. He was ready to go from day one. Plug and play, just put him in at second base. He and Alan Trammell, obviously the two infielders that were brought up at the same time, and what an amazing career they both had. But for obvious reasons, Lou being our guest today, we're going to talk just exclusively about the second base side. Bob, thank you very much for bringing Lou on.
Well, first of all, Lou, it's an honor to have you on the show, and thank you so much for coming, because having been very close to Jim Schmeichel, the Detroit Tigers, Darryl, through my best friend, Darryl Evans, I was around the Tigers a lot, and I know, and I got to meet Lou back in the 80s when they were out here every time they came to LA. And what a class. Just leave baseball out of the picture. One of the sweetest, nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. And I talked to Lou yesterday. The ball players loved Lou, and they loved Chet Lemon, who was Lou's best friend back then. Chet always had a smile on his face, and I loved Chet. Was from LA and just a great ball player. But that's not even getting into what Lou was as a ball player. Now, the ball player side, one thing I know is baseball, okay? As I've said a million times, I never passed algebra, but I know baseball. And I've been watching it and around it my whole life, from all the years with Casey Stengel, and I know from the guys I've seen with my eyes, I'm going to name some names. Bobby Doerr, Hall of Famer, second baseman. Red Shandies, Hall of Famer, second baseman. It goes on and on. I could name a whole plethora of second basemen that couldn't hold Lou's jockstrap. I mean, these guys, no, seriously, Bill Mazeroski, 259 lifetime hitter. Sure, he was a great double play guy, but I mean, Lou should have been in the Hall of Fame when Trammell went in. And everybody, and even Trammell said that in his induction speech, so it's like, and everybody knows it. It's one of those things. It's like, what are they waiting for? I want to see him go in the Hall of Fame where him and his family and his fans can enjoy it. Not when Gil Hodges was dead 50 years and they put him in the Hall of Fame. It took him 50 years to become a better player to go in the Hall of Fame after he died. So he died in 72 and they put him in 50 years later. Are you kidding me? Let the family enjoy it. Let Lou enjoy it. Let Tony Olivo was one of my clients. They put him in at 84. He's 87 now, so at least he's had 3 years to enjoy it. But I mean, it takes these. I don't understand it. I never will. And they say if life was fair, there would not be Children's Hospital. And all I know is Lou, in my lifetime, is the best second baseman I've seen. With Gold Glove winner, multiple All-Star guy, great hitter, could hit for power, could do everything, great base runner. I mean, he was the whole package. And, and that 84 Tiger team, now think about this. I'm a guy who was brought up in LA with the Dodgers, and I honestly believe, because I followed them, because Darryl was my best friend, that could be the greatest team in the history of baseball. 35-5? Are you kidding me? And sweeping the Padres in the World Series. I mean, it was an amazing team. And Lou and I were talking yesterday, whether it was Dwight Lowry, whether it was, Castillo at third base. Well, every guy had a hand in that pennant. Every single guy, which was unbelievable. So I can't wait to hear from Lou, and it's just such an honor to have you on here, Lou, because a lot of people, they don't know about Lou, because Lou's kind of in the back. He's not out in the public all the time, and that's why it's an honor to have you on here, Lou.
Well, you don't play baseball in the public. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. But you don't play baseball in the public. You play baseball on the field. So I did all my talking on the field. Off the field, I let everybody else talk. You just say what you want, act the way you want. But when they get on the field, that's my domain. So I ruled. Absolutely. I love to play. I love the challenge. I love to compete and play the game right, but I play to win. I didn't go out there just for exercise. So over those 19 or so years, a lot of winning. Just love, I mean, defensively, most people just don't, if you're not there every day at the ballpark, because Detroit knows, they say, Lou, you spoiled us. That's because they saw me every day, you know, from the TV networks in Detroit. And so, you know, we just played and had fun, but when you go on the road, you know, the opposing team, they're rooting for their team, but obviously they got beat a lot of times rooting for their teams because we were there, I was there. But I won so many games defensively, offensively, smallest person on the field, offensively, defensively. And I mean, as you mentioned, Bob, I did it all on the field. I mean, there was nothing about baseball that I couldn't do, and it's because I played baseball from, I don't know when I started, every day, all day long. I live right beside a baseball field. They eventually named that ballpark after me, Whittaker Park now, but it's actually, it's a furniture factory, big Hooker furniture factory. They owned all the land and property there. So the field is named Hooker Field, but it's Whittaker Park now.
Wow.
But I mean, I lived in that ballpark. It kept me out of trouble, kept me from hanging around. Although we had some guys we grew up with, you know, they went their way, but I continued to be at the ballpark and just had fun. Got an opportunity over all those years to just one day get drafted. Can you imagine a young kid out of Martinsville, Virginia? Most people get it wrong. They say many other places. My friends get mad in Martinsville, Virginia, because they say, because of my baseball cards, they say I was born in Brooklyn, New York. They didn't like that. They say you should be born in Martinsville. But Martinsville is where I grew up, and that's where I learned my baseball skills. And I had a lot of young men who helped me along the way. I mean, just being on a ball out there at the ballpark every day. We just had fun as kids, and you know, I'm sure you see it the same thing out in the LA community and the ballparks. I played with a lot of California ball players there, and they tell me their stories. About just being out there playing baseball. It was fun. So, I mean, I just had that opportunity. I didn't like talking about baseball because I did not want to upset pitchers. You know, when you talk too much, your name goes in the paper. And that's when you get drilled. You know, you get drilled a lot. Those are the people that talk a lot. Those are the ones that get hit a lot in our day. You don't hit guys today. It's against baseball, you know. But when you talk a lot during my era and ran off at the mouth at the wrong times, you got beamed, or you got knocked down, you got brushed back, or you got hit. And I learned, keep your mouth shut, play the game, be a professional, and get hit less.
Yeah. See, there's a certain wisdom in that, Lou. Certain wisdom.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I thought was really neat about you and looking back at your career and your managers, the people that helped train you and bring you up, notice that there was a certain maturity level. There was a wisdom that you had. You were very comfortable on the field. Even though you switched positions, you started out with the Tigers as a third baseman. Is that correct? Right.
Played all my whole year from organized baseball. I started at 10 years of age, organized. And from Little Leagues all the way to Connie Mack, I played third base. And I played third base when I was in rookie ball in Bristol, Virginia. And I played my first full season in Florida State League. That whole year I played third base. I was the most valuable player in the Florida State League in 1976. And moved to second base in the winter ball time period. After baseball season, when they get all their so-called future prospects in the minor leagues. And we basically just trained maybe 2 months and a half. And their organization are looking at their future ball players. And that's when we, met Trammell and Parrish and Rosema. And Brookins was there. Petrie was there.
Wow.
Those were some. And then eventually Kirk Gibson and, Ricky Leach come in at that time, both football players from Michigan and Michigan State. And then, we had some guys before that. I always like to mention Jason Thompson and Steve Kemp when they first, come through, because that's who I thought was going to be. And those are California boys.
SC.
And I thought they were going to be the nucleus of the baseball team, but Sparky had a different idea when he came, made a trade and got Larry Herndon and got Chet Lemon, and they became the outfielders along with Kirk Gibson. So, Sparky knew how to put together a baseball team. We all know that, right? From the Big Red Machine, right? Dodgers don't hear nothing about the Cincinnati Big Red Machine, right? But for 17 and a half years, Sparky Anderson put together, he had a thing for putting together people who work together. I mean, he always loved a good working relationship, not just in the ballpark, but in the clubhouse also. So that was always ideal of teamsmanship, good working relationships with players. So he kept it pretty quiet. We had some rough days, some few arguments from different players coming from different teams. They get together and we didn't know where it was coming from, but all of a sudden 2 people over there fighting, scrapping, like, where did this come from? But, that's that, from other teams, you never know when you bring players to your team, trying to make a better team, you don't know what other people have went through, why they have this animosity between them. But, for the most part, 17 and a half years, we kept a pretty sound baseball organization.
Lou, for a couple guys that didn't play under Sparky Anderson, I would assume that it's tough. You're there to win. You got to do your job. There's a professionalism that's a part of it. But also, if you win and you do your job, you can have a little bit of fun and have some enjoyment while you're out there. Not too much. You're not there to show anybody up. Like you said earlier, there's newspapers around, and you don't want to get beaned or anything. But there's a certain portion of, it's okay to have a little bit of fun. You can smile and jump around and have a good time. I don't mind that, just not too much. Is there any truth to what I'm saying to describe Sparky?
Of course. We had a lot of fun. Oh man, we had a ton of fun.
Well, winning will help do that, won't it? Right? You can have fun when you're winning.
Well, that's always, you can always have a smile on your face when you're winning. It's when you're losing, you don't smile as much. It's no fun when you lose. It's a lot of fun when you win. And we were consistent. We had our moments when we went through slumps and over the years, but for the most part, when you look at Detroit Tigers, I think for 19 years, my whole career, I think we were over 500 every year. And, for some reason, I keep thinking that, my whole career we were over 500, but there were one year and we had some good ball players, big boys on the baseball team. Everybody, they all come from a different organization, but Sparky was putting together some guys. I'm talking about the Cecil Fielder era with Rob Deere, Mickey Tettleton, Travis Fireman's rookie Tony Phillips come over there.
Yeah.
We had Ward, he's a California boy, Gary Ward. Mosby, we got him from, of course, he was a good football player, but in his earlier days with Toronto Blue Jays. But we could score every day. We could score 7, 8 runs, but we would give up 8, 9. And I couldn't believe it. Bill Gullickson won 20 games that year, and he probably had an ERA of 6. But he won 20 games. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. But
you gave up 8, but you got 9 in return, right? You had a couple of close ones where
we scored. We could hit and score some runs. I mean, we had 9 guys that could do some serious damage at any given time. Pete, we even had Pete Incaviglia from Texas.
Yeah,
we had those are big boys. But during that time, we did not have a pitching staff, and that's one thing. That was tough. See, Sparky was tough on kids, rookie pitchers, and really didn't give them chance to develop. And hey, you don't develop in the big leagues. When you come to big leagues, your development took place in the minor leagues. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but Sparky was always looking for that instant production. And they were, sometimes I used to hear that people were intimidated, or he intimidated pitchers, or young pitchers anyway, young kids, because Sparky was a legend with the Big Red Machine. I mean, that's the team I grew up watching as a kid.
Yep.
Cincinnati Reds, Baltimore Orioles. And you couldn't learn better play baseball with those two teams. Cincinnati was just one of those. I used to watch them work out in the minor leagues, and I was like, man, look at these guys. But basically, they were being trained just like the Major League Baseball team. So that's how they were trained in Cincinnati, from the big leagues. And these kids, I used to watch stuff like that. And then the Baltimore Orioles, they were just, you got 4 20-game winner pitching. So Baltimore always had pitching. But then you had some awesome players. And when you watch players like what I watched growing up, if you wanted to be good, just pay attention the way these guys played, because even Baltimore had Boog Powell, Frank Robinson, Paul Blair, Brooks Robinson,
Don Buford, right?
Mark Belanger.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dave, right? Andy Etchebarren, I think, might have
Andy
been.
Etchebarren was behind the plate, yes.
Now with them, it'd be like a 2-1 or a 3-0 game, right? Because their pitching staff and their defense was so good. A little bit different in Detroit when you're coming up, because you didn't have any. You had Gullickson, but you didn't have a whole lot of other arms that kept others at bay.
Well, that was in the 90s, but when we were in my early days, we're talking about growing up, and then once we got around 84, you see, we had Jack Morris, and that was a steady, you might say, horse. Every day you could ride Jack. I mean, Jack is going to pitch. He's going to pitch you an awesome game. Jack, he might get beat 3-2, 2-1, 4-2, something like that. Every now and then he may have a bad day, but Jack's going to always keep you in the game. But we had Dan Petrie, another California boy. Dan Petrie was a workhorse too. And then we had Milt Wilcox. So we had there was 3 solid starters. And then we got Juan Berenguer. He did a little spot starting. We had a few other guys, was like the 3rd and 4th, 4th and 5th pitchers that once you with a team and you see everybody winning, sometimes people just fall in. But we play for every pitcher. When someone's out there on the mound, we didn't say, oh, we're going to play for this guy, but we're going to slack up on this guy. No, we played for all of them. But that was those years when things were starting. We were starting just to develop. With Cecil and them, we were basically at the end of my career. I played 5 more years. It was like year 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. But we had a lot of fun. I mean, that team, we go out there and joke and laugh. I mean, that's probably the most fun I ever had playing because, I mean, it was getting a little bit ridiculous on the field the way we were laughing and joking, but we were beating people up. But we could laugh at mistakes, and it was a lot of fun. Lots of fun.
You got moments like this too. I mean, obviously this is playoff baseball right here, but you got Gibson as a football guy. You mentioned Rick Leach also, and I'm not bringing the football aspect into it, other than the enthusiasm, the fun, and the drive to win. And it's okay to clench your fists and put them above your head. That's okay, right? And when you guys got really good, you were confident, you knew something was different. There's a way that everybody else gets to contribute and give the high five and be a part of the ball club. And that to me is where you got everybody working together, all 24 guys on the bench and on the field, in the bullpen, everywhere. That everybody contribute and do your job, and guess what? You're going to win.
Yes, there's nothing wrong. You know, in our era, it was usually when you did all the dramatics, it was after you won the ball game. You get the game-winning hit, you do all the dramatics. During the first inning, you hit a home run. No, you don't run around the base like you Babe Ruth. Hitting 210, you don't run around the base like you Babe Ruth. You don't point all in the sky, you know, and this and that. It's a different era. It's a different era, different era of baseball.
Especially not with Bob Gibson pitching, right?
That's what I'm talking about. You respected the game in that way. You did not show the pitcher up. You didn't do all those dramatics. You might even had a somebody who wasn't a Bob Gibson. Yeah. If you disrespected him, you know, might come a little bit tight on you. But that was just a different era. See, we go, you know, our baseball came from the earlier days. That's when we talk to people, you know, like for instance, when I first got there, we had Willie Horton, who was still on the team. Oh. Gates Brown was a coach. So they would tell you how things were, how to act as a player. You know, even I had Mickey Stanley, person I loved in Detroit when I first got there, just one of the nicest guys, you know, big Detroit guy himself, loved by all of Detroit.
68 Tigers.
Yes, he was on that team. And, you know, they just, that was the way they approached the game, and they passed it down. And, but, you know, even growing up as a kid, that's the way I used to see it on, you know, you watch it on TV. You watch how the guys, they went in, they hit a home run, they go in, they shake your hand, they go in the dugout, they sit down. And, but they didn't flip no bats. You flip a bat, you getting flipped. You know, wasn't all of that. You know, this is, like I say, it's a different game today. We got some that out here called banana ball today. Seeing that, when I watch banana ball, it's like, wow, it's like a slap in the face. And at the baseball, you know, because, you know, you talk. When you play baseball, there is no tricks behind the back and no flipping and all of this to do this and do that. But, you know, that's the era today. They love banana ball. People love it. I mean, when I look at the stadium, you got 50, 60,000 people at banana ball, you know. But, you know, things change. What can you say? What can you say? Just you watch. No, it's not for me, though. You know, it's not something, you know, when I look at baseball, I look at the purity of baseball. You do everything, well, the way you talk, you know, even right now, when you teach a little kid, if you was to teach a little kid playing baseball, the fundamentals of baseball, you would not dare teach him, catch the ball behind your back, throw it over here, do this, dance on the field, shake your booty, do this, do that. We wouldn't teach our kid that to play, you know, to grow up and be a baseball player. We would tell him, get in front of the ball, make your throws, be consistent, do this, do that, respect your game, you know, this and that. And, you know, that's just my baseball growing up. You know, you know, what people do now, you know, as a little kid, I used to try to catch a ball behind my back. You know, you try, yes, just showing off. That's all, showing your skills. So we show that. So maybe that's what they're doing, showing their skills.
That's it. That's what it is.
They
Lou, you came up, I mentioned a little bit earlier, you seem like you were plug and play ready to go at the major league level. There's a picture I've got somewhere. I'll get to it in a second. But right now, it's just as a young player getting a chance to shine the 75, 76, early 77 minor league season, you get called up. What was that like for you when you knew that you were going up? And I think, Alan, the two of you were brought up the same, is that right, the same day? Or you played in the same game, the first game together with the Red Sox or against the Red Sox?
Yeah, we played the same game against the Red Sox, and we got caught up in September 1977. Tram and I met, well, we met in 76 in instructional ball, as I mentioned. But Tram, shortstop, I'm learning how to play second base during that 76 instructional baseball season. And so the next year, in 1977, Tigers bringing Eddie Brinkman to manage the Montgomery Rebels. We played Double-A in Montgomery, Alabama. So Tram and I'm playing second, Tram's playing shortstop. Eddie Brinkman is our coach. And so we pretty much ran away in Double-A. And we won that both halves of the and we won the championship. So we won the championship in A-ball and Double-A.
Wow.
Me. Tram, I didn't make Tram to Double-A in 77. And so when we got called up, we beat Kansas City for the championship. And the Tram tell me, he asked me sometime, he said, Lou, you know who you got that game-winning hit? Because we had a rain delay huge. And we ended up playing extra innings. But anyway, Tram say, Lou, you know who you got your game-winning hit off for the championship? Off of in Double-A? I said, oh, no, I don't remember. I just remember through it. And he said, Dan Quisenberry. He said,
oh, wow.
That's what Dan Quisenberry was at the Double-A that year with the Royals. And so, man, I didn't know Dan then, but Dan became, we might say a legend for Kansas City Royals.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Over the years, and but that's when Tram and I met, and then once we got to Detroit, in 77, we pretty much sit on the bench, and I used to pinch run a time or two, but Ralph Houck was our manager in 77, or the manager. Like I say, we just got up about a couple weeks, and they came to us and told us we were going to start the game of the week, a Saturday game of the week in Boston, and we both played. That was our first game, and that's the only game we played. After that, I don't think we played another game. Then after we played a 3-game series there, we went to New York, the Yankees, and finished the season. I forget if it's a 3-game, 4-game series at the end of the season. But next year we go back in spring training, and we had these big numbers. I think I had like 43, and Tram had like 44, and then and then eventually, because one time they showed me with a number 60 on it. I got a 60 on my back. So maybe they started off at 60. And then, I guess we were doing good enough. Second week, they gave us 40 to 40s. I forget how it all went. And but when we made the team, that's when they gave us our numbers, 1 and 3. When we made the team, went to Detroit in 78.
Yeah, you got to keep your number after that. A 60 number for a second baseman, that means you're going down, right? You're going to be going the wrong direction.
No, that's just numbers they gave us in spring training.
Yeah. You got to earn the number that you
get. There you go. I think that's the way it was. We had to earn a major league, a real number. Hey, look at the numbers today. Hey, a number is a number. Major league number is a major league number.
Yeah, some guys relish the fact that, you give me a number in the 70s, I'll take it, because it'll be original. Nobody else is, nobody's used to wearing that. What was it like playing that first game in Boston? Had you been in Fenway before, or going to Yankee Stadium for was there a chance or two that you might have pinched yourself to go, I'm in the big leagues right now? Or were you, hey, I'm just waiting my turn and I'm ready for this, and I have been ever since I was in Martinsville?
Well, yeah, I think that's how it was. You know, when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, I was playing baseball with grown men 35 years old, just in the, or they might have called in the blacks. They got their semi-pro teams. That's what they might call themselves, you know, semi-pros. So, you know, I was playing against grown men when I was ever since I was probably 13, 14 years old, you know. We would go and travel and play teams, you know, in different cities. You know, the men, after they get off work all week, they play baseball on Saturdays and Sundays. And I got invited. I would go, I'd sit sometime and watch. And eventually, you know, I got at a certain point, but you know, I've always played from 14, 15, 16 years old. I was playing with grown men. Wow. You know, they could have been 30, 40 years old, and maybe some older, you know, because, you know, it's just guys out in the ballpark playing baseball, having fun. And so age is just a number. When it comes to you know, playing, shoot, we had a guy that played basketball with you know, the kids up into 50, 55 years old, out there playing with kids 15, 16, 17 years old, you know, and he's keeping up, and you know, it's just the stamina, you know. He's out there. He didn't leap out the gym or anything, but he was out there playing and having fun. But that's always been the case in the black neighborhoods. We go and play and just have fun on a Saturday and Sunday. And if you can play, you can be on the team until somebody better comes. Yep. And then they say, okay, you move, and this guy's taking your place. Yeah. Same thing in the big leagues, right? Yep. If you could play, you play somebody until somebody comes along and take your place.
Yeah. Well, I had a picture of you, a couple of baseball cards and stuff like that. And just some of the things that a kid, a 10-year ball cards, and he gets the one where his hero is on it. And as you grew up, and eventually as a young man in 1977, 78, you get up to the big leagues and you get a card made. You know, it's a fulfillment, kind of a circle of life. I'm here, I'm doing it. And then you get to play for 19 years and get to really be the example and set the pace for, you know, back home, and for the fans in Detroit, and for visiting fans, kids all across the country that they get to meet you for the first time, and they look up at you and they go, wow, and they want to be like you. I mean, there's a certain wisdom that you need to have, and humility to be able to appreciate it and make it a value to the kid so that he wants to play. You full circle. I mean, here you're a young man, and you're getting to play in the major leagues, and you got ball cards and all this great stuff that's happening in your life, and you're becoming a pretty good baseball player as well. You're developing, and pretty soon you're going to be a world champion. What was that like the early time when you get brought up, you know? And you mentioned Ralph Hawk early. He was let go. You bring Sparky in, a little bit of change here and there. You got to develop, you got to change, but, you know, modify your game, remold it. But, boy, that middle infield was solid and for decades. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you know, they said, I've heard quite a few coaches say Ralph Houck was good for young, developing players because he had patience. See, Sparky didn't have really patience. I think the first time I met Sparky, and he hadn't even got to the team yet, and the first thing he said to me is, you think you're going to be here long? I'm like, what do you mean? You know, like, you know, I'm just laughing at it. Basically, I'm saying I'll probably be here longer than you will. But, you know, that's just Sparky, you know, being Sparky. You know, he loved the game. He couldn't play the game, but that's one thing about a good manager, a good coach. Their love for the game, they wish they had that ability, you know, the both things that meshed together, their ability with their love, because good managers usually love the game more than any player. They just don't have that ability, and that's why they get mad at some players with that natural ability is they take it for granted, whereas the managers say, I wish I had half the ability that you had and I would have been somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I would have been a great player if I only had half the ability that some of these superstars who have it and basically take it for granted and lose the desire to enhance that ability and just to improve year after year after year after year. And then I guess that's why media used to hate me. Probably, I ain't gonna say they hated me, is that I wouldn't talk to them, is because they were always looking for what they could say negative about me, and they very rarely could find anything. They especially Detroit media, they couldn't stand me because they wanted others just to they just didn't know, how could this kid go out here and just play day after day after day as if it's that easy. I mean, I put my whole life into it. I don't need to show off. And, you know, they say, I was just talking to somebody just the other day, how some people, you know, they exert themselves like all of that noise, whereas me is like, it's just floating. And I brought up a Ken Griffey Jr. myself, because we had a few players that didn't like the way Griffey played Jr., and that's because he was so fluent and so natural. And I used to tell him, hey, the boy's just that good, you know, and where you think he's showing off, no, that's just his natural, rare ability. And you have to basically accept it, you know, because some pitchers just didn't like it. You know, hey, when Griffey is beating on you, I guess I wouldn't like it either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Griffey,
Lou, sorry to interrupt you. This picture here that I get, if you can look in your screen and see it with me, I learned something very valuable when I pulled this. And on purpose, I want to make sure this was all by itself. I have some others that are, you know, with a second picture, and then a couple with three. To your point, fielding this backhander, a lot of players would be taught, hey, you got to take one more step. But you're already getting your left foot ready to throw to first base.
Mm-hmm.
Before you've even fielded the ball. You're saving time right now. You're making this a much quicker play. I know I'm going to get the ball. I'm going to field it backhand, which in the modern world, and when you were taught at 10 years old, have the ball in between your feet. But you've learned to do it, and then you field it, and your feet are already in position, so you can get the ball out of your glove even quicker. If it's a close play, you're going to win 9 times out of 10 because you've got the ball in your first baseman's glove a step quicker than everybody else does. Is that part of what you taught yourself, or when your speed and your ability and your natural talent kind of kicks in, is to be able to save time and make this game a lot easier? If I get a good hop right here, this is just going to be it would be a difficult play, but it's not going to be a Sports Center moment because I didn't turn it into one. I made a conscious decision to field it and get it out of my glove a little bit quicker than what other players might do. Is there any truth to that in the way you strategized your defense?
Well, I can sort of see what you're talking about. I was watching my nephew's son practice or do some high school plays yesterday, and just watching what you're talking about right now, getting yourself in position and preparing and opening up your hips, being ready to make your throw, you know, without, you know, like all the extra. So looking at that picture, I know I'm going to get the ball. I know I basically I've put myself in position to make the catch. Now I'm I'm planted, and now that's all I can do is reach in and get the ball out of my glove, because I used to teach one of the players. He used to always drop the ball out of the glove to his hand. I say, don't drop it out, because you lose control of the ball. You don't know where the seams are. Reach in there, grab the ball, now feel the thread, feel the seams, and now make your throw. So I'm in position, I'm catching, my hips are open. That's all I have to do is now just basically release the ball.
Yeah.
My hips is going to open up automatically. because I'm already pretty much halfway open at that time. See, I don't have my back to the ball. I have my hips, my inside is still open. And I don't have my back where now I've got to turn, make a huge turn, and then make a throw across my body. I'm basically in position to throw. But, growing up as a kid, I played catch all day long. That's all I ever did. I mean, like I say, I played baseball from I used to go and find people, or I'd be down in the bottom at the street where I grew up at my grandmother's house. That's where I grew up. I'd be down in the street. If nobody was around, I'd find a stick and I'd pick up rocks and hit it with a stick. That's the good eye-hand coordination by making contact majority of the time. But when one person shows up, we may play strike out with each other with a stick and throwing rocks. A couple other people show up, then we start playing strikeout. One person's catching, one person's pitching, maybe with a tennis ball or a rubber ball. Then 2 or 3 people come up. Now we start playing a little game in the street, stick ball. And then when 8, 9, 10, 12 kids show up, we head out to the ballpark, which it was only about 1/8 of a mile, if that far. I live by a ballpark. If you took 400 steps, I would be in the ballpark. And put it this way, in a Major League Baseball park, I'd be living in the baseball parking lot. That's how close I live to the baseball park. So I play catch all day, all night. We play ball, sun up to sundown, every day. We used to even turn the lights on at the ballpark at the city. The people that work with recreation, they come by, police riding around, they just look and say, let them play. You say, Lou must be in the ballpark. And when we really had a good game going on, like when the adults on a Friday get off work, well, Saturday, the adults come out, the kids are playing all day. The adults, y'all don't know what y'all doing. Y'all don't know how to play the game. We say, go get y'all's gloves and come on back. Now it's our kids playing against the adults. Yes. And so we play all night. And now the person that ran Parks and Recreation, I'm gonna mention his name, Herb Hughes, great guy. We had a lot of him there. Took care of the baseball. But guys, when we play all night, when it start getting dark, guys would say, somebody cut the lights on. If they had that lock on that lights thing, one of the other guys, they broke it. But the guy would always say, Lou did it, because he just knew. I would never break anything. I mean, that's not me. I don't do things like that. And so, but the guy would just say Lou did it, and just to let us play. Lou's in the ballpark. So anyway, and then we play 12 o'clock at night. Like I say, people riding around. We have people come out and watch us play ball.
Wow.
Sometimes when a ball game has been playing, when we were kids, like little kids at a ballpark, they on the side playing. Well, we would actually be playing a game over on the side. Fans would stop watching the baseball players and watch us play on the side.
Wow.
Hey
Lou, is that Lou Whittaker Field you're talking about?
Yes, that's what they named it, Lou Whittaker Field now. Yeah. And they fixed it up, and they've got they put a brand new score box in there, and they have 2 suites in there, and one suite is Lou Whittaker's suite, and the other one is for the guys who put it. So they have this big mirror inside. They have baseball jerseys of mine, a helmet, a spike. It's nice. It got some leather seats in there which says Tigers and this and that. But it's real nice. They fixed it up. They tried a long time ago. Like, can we get you to put your name on this ballpark. We're going to name this ballpark. And I used to turn stuff down all the time. I said, no, that's not me. And so finally, after they said what they were going to put in the ballpark, they wanted to really fix it up, do this and do that. And we need you, this would help. So anyway, because I think 15 years ago they wanted to do that, or even so. And I just finally did it about 4 years ago, something like that. And so, but anyway, it's when I was growing up, this ballpark, man, it actually used to be a minor league baseball park when we were before my time, but it was one of those fields, everything was made out of wood, and it's right beside Hooker Furniture. It's on their property. Yeah. That's why it's called Hooker Field. And so they said that burned down. I don't forget what year or whatever, but it was a very, big fire, almost like a Chicago fire when it just burned down the whole city back in that era. And so, but this ballpark burned down, but they said it was a beautiful stadium, and it's still beautiful. But the main part of it now is all concrete. They're fixing up a little bit because of the new, trying to make it Whittaker Park. But the field, beautiful grass, beautiful infield, all that back in the day. Now, all the kids, they make, everything is artificial turf and that type of. But when I was growing up, one of the most beautiful fields, and it was nothing better after the city, the guys who worked, and one of them was an umpire, and had his crew. They go around the city and cut all the grass, and keep all the ballparks and get them ready, line them up for the kids to play. And they took care of this ballpark, and it was nothing better. After they cut that grass, you go out there and you just say, baseball. That's baseball.
Lou, you bring up a very interesting point. I can remember a park or two. There's a broken Budweiser bottle. That's right near where the trash can was, and the gate was kind of squeaky, and the benches were filthy, and the dugouts had dirt and a bunch of trash in it. That's part of growing up, right? It's not going to be perfect, but the part that got me is when you said that you played on the sideline and you were playing with your buddies, and people would watch you guys instead of the main game that's on the field. There's a certain self-discipline. You don't need a coach. It's good to have one. You don't need to have a dad or an uncle or anyone there. When you learn to teach yourself, I better get better. I need to improve, or else I'm not going to be able to stay on this field. Was that an important part of your growing up? And when you know what, I want to keep playing, and I like being on the field. I want to be on it. I better use my glove a little bit better. I better learn how to catch and throw right. You know what I mean? And do so with a little bit more zip in it, and some pop in your step. What was that like for you?
Well, not only off the field or on the baseball field and in the street, even when I was at home in the basement, I would throw the ball against the basement wall, bounce it off, work on my backhand, work on my left hand, hit it where it popped up, just making catches, throw it, taking like fielding. But I used to work myself on my skills, backhand, forehand, or a glove hand. So, I did that. My mother used to come there, boy, what you doing? Stop banging that ball on the wall. But that's all I did. Even in school, anytime I had a project to do, it always had to do with baseball. I read a baseball book, back in those days. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle. Those were the big books, back in those days. That you really had. Now everybody probably has a book. And but even in my classes, I go to some classes and I got a glove in my hand. Teacher say, put that glove down. You ain't gonna do nothing with that glove. Something they used to say all this stuff. But
I love it. I
would sleep with my glove. I would dream. That was my desire. I used to not only I go and play baseball, and as soon as I play, I come home and on the game of the week. You watch baseball, watch the professionals play, and just watch the game. You had your team you rooted for, but you watch them play. And then when the game was over, you go and play more. But that's why I got there. I mean, I love baseball. Baseball is, and that's why, I used to, Lance Parrish used to always say, Lou, man, we go and we work out all day long, take batting practice, do this, do that. You wake up, come out, get 2 hits. We done worked all day and don't get nothing. He said, man, you right out of bed. You hit right out of bed. But I mean, I spent my whole life. That was what it was like. It's time to go practice. Somebody had to tell me to go practice. When they say, let's go practice, I've already practiced 3 hours before you even say practice, or maybe even more. When 5 o'clock comes and you got to go play a game, I've already practiced the whole day. May have been out at the ballpark and played a game or two before we go and play the game all day, all night. So that's why baseball just came, just something you love. It's like sitting down and eating some fries, I suppose. You pick up one fry at a time and enjoy it. It's like taking candy from a baby, whatever they say. And that's not good, taking candy from a baby.
No, it's not. There's a video that before he passed away in the helicopter crash, Kobe Bryant did a video, and someone asked him, said, Kobe, how did it become so easy for you? And he goes, well, I'll give you an example. And he was in a gym, and behind him, his daughter was practicing. He's on the second level of this gymnasium, so he could look down, but the camera couldn't give the view. He goes, look at my daughter out there. Before we came to practice today, we worked on free throw shooting for an hour, and then we worked on dribbling for another hour, and she's going to practice here for an hour. And then when we get home, we're going to work on ball drills and just her feet. She's going to have 3, maybe 4 hours today, where the other girl that comes in on the team, she's going to have 1 hour. Now multiply that by tomorrow. And at the end of the week, how many more hours does my daughter have than the other one?
Yeah.
It was like that for me. And so if you do the math, and at the end of a year, how much more prepared do you think that she's going to be able to play on your team than the other person that's only spending 1 hour at practice? So it sounds to me like you did the math also, Lou, and that every hour that you threw a ball. Now, did you ever pitch? Did you ever learn how to throw a curveball with that tennis ball that didn't have any fuzz on it?
Man, shoot. Yeah, let me tell you one story. High school regional baseball championship. I got beat by a team that from 1 to 9, every one of them was over 300 hitter. Okay.
Oh wow.
Got beat 1-0.
Uh-oh.
I struck out 18.
Wow.
The one guy that got on, he didn't get a hit. Well, he got on base somehow, forget exactly. Stole second base. The catcher threw the ball to second base. Nobody was there. The ball went to center field. The guy got up from second, ran to third. The center fielder threw the ball to the third baseman. It got past the third baseman. I was backing up at Amherst High School in Amherst, Virginia. The backing up by third baseman is like about 3 or 4 or 5 feet, and behind that is a line for out of play. So the ball got past the third baseman. I'm backing up the third baseman, and the ball got past the third baseman so fast that I didn't have time to react. My goodness. The ball got past, and the guy scored. That's how Amherst beat us 1-0 in, I don't know if that was 75, 74, might have been 75, I don't know. Might have been 1975 year. But anyway, struck out 18, but curveballs, probably had better curveball than most Major League Baseball players had curveballs.
Really?
That's all I did is play baseball, so I learned all the tricks of the trade. Matter of fact, and I'm being humble about this too. You know, first thing I want to say
Yes,
is
you are.
I want to make sure everybody knows what I'm saying. I'm trying to be humble, modest about what I'm saying. This is not no joking, bragging, and this and that. This
But
is.
Lou, you were good. You were good. Tell us how good you were. What's this curveball do?
Well, my sister say that. My sister always say, "You think you're a pro? You're a pro now." See, that's one of my sister. You talk today. She'll tell you right now. She say if she's around me, she'll tell you in a heartbeat. She say he'll screw up. He ain't no good. I'm the one that's good. I taught him everything he know. So I mean, she just keeps me smiling, laughing, and this and that. But she had a lot of trophies, but. Uh, oh man, hey, anytime, every sport that I ever played, when I went out for teams, I was never looked at as the best on the team. I was basically the one that, oh, this kid probably never played ball or anything. You know, it's just people that don't know me, and I'm on the team. They're their team, so you know they don't know me from anybody else. They probably have their son as the best player on the team until we start working out and say, "Uh-oh, this guy right here, put him here. You put him here." So I mean, I throw a football as far as anybody, throw a baseball as far as anybody. Had hands catch as good as anybody. I mean, I practice so much catching, so much different. I catch a football with one hand, with my little finger. You know that little sparrow, catch it on the tip. You know, I mean, that's just hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of sports.
Yep.
Sports. Love football, just too small. Used to tackle, you wake up, you know, I mean, I could have probably told them, don't be tackling with your head. You're going to get, you know, brain damage, you know what I mean? Because when you get hit, you wake up like, oh, man, your brains got rattled. But, you know, football, you know, I never had the size for football. I had the ability either side of the ball. I mean, quarterback make a mistake, you throw the ball my direction, mistake, because I know how to get in front of you. I know how to get behind you. I know when you overthrew. A ball was going to be overthrown. Don't stand here. The ball is there. Go back there.
Yeah.
I mean, I love sports. And, you know, it's just great athletes out there. And, I mean, hey, what can I say? What can I say? That's why they don't like me.
Well, I wanted to ask you a question. Was there ever, when you were growing up, if you could say one, was there ever one big league player that you looked up to or patterned yourself after?
No, I probably had too many to just say one. I mean, It's just so many. See, as a hitter, and Rod Carew.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one that was always in the paper, 300 hitter, leading the league in hits, this and that. Inside out. Nope, not a power hitter, but he did hit his home run. Bunt. Rod Carew could probably get 25 hits a year just bunting.
Yep.
And then you got Cincinnati Reds. That whole team, you know, when Johnny Bench comes in, Joe Morgan comes from Houston. Back at that time, Colt 45 to Cincinnati. Then you got Pete Rose, just hustle. You know, I mean, just always on base. You got Tony Perez, clutch. You know, I mean, there's just all of that. And then later on, you got Griffey and Dreesen comes in the ball game and just steady, nothing fancy, just steady ball players. But, you know, Cincinnati Reds, I mean, that's why I can name all those guys. And then we got the Baltimore Orioles, you know, you got Brooks Robinson. That's who I used to talk about. They used to say Brooks Robinson was a vacuum cleaner, something like that.
Yeah.
They used to say Brooks Robinson was a vacuum cleaner. Everything he hit down third base, he's sucking up. But that, I mean, that was my man at third base because I played third base, you see. So, you know, small, I mean, you know, shoot, if I was at third base, if I was my size in 1977, they put me at third base in the major league. They looked at it and say, "Hey, get that bat boy off of the third base. Move that man, that boy gonna get hurt down there."
Yeah.
It's like, and they're probably right.
Don't let that bat boy out there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, Mickey Stanley thought I was the bat boy. Willie Horton said, "Mick, that's the Whittaker. That's a ball player." So Mickey thought I was a bat boy. One of the kids. I mean, because I'm smallest guy. Might probably been the smallest guy in Major League Baseball. I mean, height, skinny as a rail. I mean, just but boy, could he show off.
Yes. Well, you ended up your career with 244, just under 250 home runs. You hit 276. You had 2,300 hits, over 1,000 RBI. I mean, you could put the ball in play from an offensive perspective. I got a picture of you. I'll show it just a second. But this one here, you're swinging down on one. You're going to put the ball in play. But it didn't matter. I don't care how big or how small. If you can't hit, you're not going to play. If you can't field, you're not going to play. If you can't throw, and you could do all of those, all the tools. And hitting with the stick and a big old rock or a little rock and learning how to just make contact and then years and years of development. From the left-hand side, I'm sure that helped you a little bit. You get an extra couple of hits every season just because of your speed, and you've got 5 feet less that you got to travel. Talk a little bit about your hitting and why that kept you in the league for as long as it did. 276, you can play anywhere.
Let me tell you, first thing I'd like to say about that is, I've always been a left-handed hitter, but I think in Little League, my coach asked me to hit right-handed one pitch or one at bat. And I got up to hit. I hit the ball further than I ever did left-handed, but I went right back to left-handed, and I never went back to right. I mean, that was me. I just felt comfortable hitting left-handed. I wish I did. Because there were advantages being a switch hitter. I mean, I probably left a lot of hits out there because of being a left-hander, and tough pitchers like Flanagan, Jimmy Key. Because for me, they used to drop down sidearm a lot. With that big sweeping curveball to that was their advantage. So it was tough for me. Picking up that. Just
what a great picture that is, Harper. That picture right there says it all. It says it all right there.
Well, one of the reasons I like it, Louis, I mean, you can see in your forearms, you were small, but you were powerful. You had a big back. Your arms, your forearms right here, the strength that you had, especially early in your career, was obviously a tremendous advantage for you. You get the ball out of the infield. You could hit the wall, right? You could hit the wall. If you can bounce off the wall as a leadoff hitter, and you're standing on second, you're going to get a run.
Yeah. Well, that's how you win. That's how you win with runs, right?
Yes.
You don't win with just.
Look at his eyes. His eyes are right on the contact. Look.
Well, as I got older, the game just even got easier. I mean, sometimes when I was standing at the plate, and one day I sort of lost my train of thought because things were getting so easy when I step in the bat. That's experience. And so I sit up, like, man, it's almost like I know this pitch, that pitch, I know this and that. And for some reason I sort of peaked. And and maybe because with television and everything, they can say, "Oh, he's peaking," and that was just because I lost my train of thought. Because it's like, is it this easy? I mean, I walk in the box and I just know everything. It was just a funny experience because this is when I was just hitting everybody. There was a few times, I just hit everybody. Coaches come by and say, "Lou, is it that easy? Ball must be this big, Lou, this and that." And but experience, just got easier. But, I was just a single hitter, truthfully. If it wasn't for Gates Brown, I probably could have had a lot more hits. And I say this because Gates used to tell me, say, "Lou, Because when I was in the minor league, Gates came over. I was just a minor league kid, and Gates walked over from the major league field. He tell me this, and he was telling me, he said, "Son, let me teach you how to hit." And he said, I told him, I said, I use a few other words, and I said, I already know how to hit. And Gates probably flipped him out. Little kid, minor league, so I can tell him big league, like, I already know how to play this game. So anyway, years later, Gates says, "Lou, let me tell you something. You hitting balls 400 feet left center field." He said, let me tell you, you see that 325 down the line? Just listen to me. I know you know how to hit. Just listen to me. We're going to work. I want to bring you in, and I want to show you how to, instead of my inside out, teach me how to just stay back, relax, stay back, and learn how to get the ball out front. Use that right field fence instead of that 440 straightaway center, that 420 left center, because I used to hit everything up the middle on the ground. I was a base hitter. So I'm trying to hit the ball back through the middle hard by the pitcher. I know nobody's going to get it. I'm going to go to left field between short and third base, piece of cake, just inside out. Left field, this and that. But Gates taught me that. So we worked that one day, that afternoon. We went in, I think afternoon, evening. We went in and we worked, and he's teaching me how to stay back and do this and do that. And so we worked that day, and he said, now we'll come back and we'll work on it again tomorrow. I said, we don't have to come back. I got it. So that same day, I hit a home run pull. I hit a ball off the 375 fence for a double. But the thing was, the reason I say that, I could have got probably more hits. Now I started to try to pull everything. Now I'm looking at everything. So now pitchers may make a good pitch, and I think I'm going to get out front. And, me, I'm aggressive. I'm swinging. If it's there over the plate, I'm swinging. But it's not a good pitch to swing it. So I might have just rolled my hands and made it easy out. And Sparky sometimes, because sometimes I go up swinging first pitch. And Gates Brown used to tell me that too. He said, "Lou, when you go up to hit, why you take the first pitch?" I said, "Well, you want to seal pitches." They say, how long you been here? Blah, blah, blah. He said, "How long have you seen this pitcher?" "Oh, quite a few years." He said, "When you go up to the plate, don't go up taking nothing." So,
he knows you're going to take the first pitch. He's going to give you one right. He's going to get a strike. He's going to go ahead and give you a great pitch to hit, right?
Well, everybody gets good pitches. I mean, every at bat you get a good pitch. I mean, you get three of them, really.
Yeah.
But it only takes one. And, hey, we get 10 at-bats, and most of us don't get 3 hits out of 10. So, I mean, that's just show you the odds of baseball. And they're a great player, right? 300 hitter back in the day. I don't know about today. You got to hit 30, 40 home runs with 50 RBIs. You're a great player today.
With a 220 batting average.
So, something like that, But hey, now I'm sometimes when I watch this, sometimes I have to, eat my words in the sense of giving kids a little credit, because we used to see a pitcher 4 times, great pitcher. We see him 4 times a ball game, you got a chance to do something seeing that man 4 times. These guys only see this pitcher 1 time, and these kids coming out throwing 98, 100 and some. You know what I mean? I sometimes I say to myself, shoot, I might have been a 200 hitter playing in today's game, because you don't see it in these guys. I'm just saying, because see, now I'm 69 years old. I don't see as good, and hey, this and that. So, but. Hey, we had one guy through 98, 99. Well, you had 2, but we didn't see the other one. You had Nolan Ryan and J.R. Richards.
I got to tell you this story. It reminds me, you're 69, you said.
Uh-huh.
The great Ty Cobb, who was a Tiger, Fred Haney was his teammate with the Tigers back in the day, and Fred was the general manager for the Angels. And somebody asked Fred Haney, he said, this is years ago, they said, "What do you think Ty Cobb would hit today in today's baseball?" And Fred Haney said 335, and the reporter says, "That's all?" He says, "Hell, he's 78 years old." And that's you like 69 now. You could still hit, I guarantee.
No. Don't have the pop. I don't have the muscle. No. I mean, as the game goes, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I don't have that muscle. I could probably barely get a ball past the pitcher. And that's the truth, because I tried to hit a ball one time and I barely got out the infield. I mean, because you don't have. I mean, I even I was at a little summer outing around the holidays, with all the friends down at one of the city parks, and the kids over there playing basketball. So I walk over there and I pick up the basketball. I couldn't even get the ball over to the rim, because if you don't use those muscles, you lose those muscles, and they can be retrained now. Now, right now I maybe couldn't, but training and sort of getting some of the muscles back, which that would probably take 3 years. Nobody has 3 years to wait. Season be over 3 times, three seasons going by waiting for you. No, we need you now. And no. I mean, and that's why I hung my cleats up. I knew the game wasn't giving me what I wanted. I go to a ball game and it's like, Dick Trzaskowski used to tell me, or not just to me, but he saw this, maybe maybe he was saying it in me, because he saw what he saw as I was a rookie. This cocky, I mean, you say anything to me about baseball negative, you heard something, a response. It wasn't, no, you're talking to the wrong person, talking about can't play this game. Oh, I can play this game, because we ran Ron LaFleur and this, we're in Indianapolis playing the AAA for these little league function games. During the regular season we go and they do a little promotion game, and so all of us, Jason Thompson, Steve Kemp, Ron LaFleur, Dick Trzaskowski, all of them. So anyway, they said something to me as a rookie, and I'm like, no. So and Trzaskowski say, oh, it's a cocky little something right here. But so years later, Trzaskowski may have seen that it's like, man, Lou just don't have that drive. He's not focused on the game. It's like he'd rather be somewhere else, and. I knew that I was losing my interest in the game, and I could have probably went on and played another 4 years if I had left Detroit, which I had Oakland wanted me in the 90s, Boston wanted me in the 90s, 92 or so, Atlanta Braves wanted me, and Atlanta tried to give me a 2-year offer, but the Tigers were offering 3, and Bill LaJoy, who was the general manager, actually signed me in the minor league from the minor leagues, and basically took care of me and always looked out for my interest as I played for Detroit. And he had left Detroit and went to Atlanta, and that was around 89 or 90. In 92, he called me and said, Lou, we need a second baseman. And let me tell you players we got, Lou, and and I didn't know none of these guys. Say, we got this kid coming up, Chipper Jones, third base. He hadn't been there yet, but he's talking about the future. We got Maddox, we got Avery, we got Schmotes. We got all of these kids, youngsters. That's all we need. Had Lopez as a catcher, because he said we got this kid like Lance Parrish, Lopez catching. Man, Lou, we got us a good team. We just need us a second baseman. We'll give you 2 years. And I was tempted to leave or go, but I always knew it's not always, the grass is not always green on the other side. I might have tried to put too much pressure on myself, miserable, whatever the reason. But the Tigers offered me 3 years. Atlanta offered 2. And that was in like 1992. And they end up, I think they may have made their first year in the playoffs that year. They won their division. And but Bill LaJoy And so I could have played with Atlanta Braves around 92, 93, 93, probably 93 and 94, something like that, because I ended up signing a 3-year contract with Detroit instead.
Yeah.
And then I retired in 95. So, and then after I retired in 95, so happened my wife and I, back in that day, we went to Tampa. I'd retired. And we were over at Tampa. My wife wanted to go up and meet George Steinbrenner and talk to him about something. And so getting off the elevator was Joe Torre, and he had his little baby. I'll never forget, so I remember this. Now to corroborate about the timeline, Joe Torre had his baby in about 96, or maybe that 95 in whatever, but 96 in spring training. Willie Randolph said, "Lou, we need a second baseman." And I said, "Willie, I'm through." I hung my so I could have played with the Yankees in 96. But I was done. A lot of people thought I was going to come back and play. They say, "Oh, he'll be back. He'll be back." No.
Hey, Lou, you know what's great? I'm going to tell you what's great, and I love it. Being a lifetime baseball fan, when I think of Mickey Mantle, I think of the New York Yankees. When I think of Stan Musial, I think of the St. Louis Cardinals. When I think of Alan Trammell and Lou Whittaker, I think of the Detroit Tigers. How many guys, that I love, the guys have stayed with one team. I think it's great, because to me, you are the Detroit Tigers. You're not the Atlanta Braves and the this and the that, But, I mean, it's great. A lot of guys, Hank Aaron, they even traded him to the Milwaukee Brewers. They traded Mays to the Mets. But you guys are true Tigers, and I love that.
Yeah, you have very few. Well, I was going to say Molitor, but he ended up leaving and going to Toronto. He ended up his last couple of years. So, but he was a true Brewer. Yeah. But Robin Yount stayed with the Brewers his whole career, right?
Yeah.
I think he stayed with anyway, you got George Brett was always there's a few people that stayed around with their teams. Frank White stayed around with the Kansas City. Willie Randolph stayed for quite a while with the Yankees. There's a few people that stayed quite a while with their teams. Some teams just traded people, you know what I mean? They needed another player, wanted somebody. Maybe they had a player in their minor league organization that they were looking to replace that particular person. I know I used to hear a lot of minor league or kids that come to the major league say, "Lou, man, we'd have had a chance to play in the major league, but when we got drafted by the Tigers and we looked over and saw Lou Whittaker and Alan Trammell, say, well, find another position."
Yeah, we're not going to play there. Middle infield, we got to move, right? You got to move.
Right. So that's the baseball world. That's Lou Whittaker. But I don't worry about. You mentioned the Hall of Fame a lot, and I get it from Detroit fans every time I go. Letters, Lou, you belong in the Hall of Fame. Even my friends, some of them get really, 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 really mad in Martinsville. They bring up, "Oh, how can this and happen and this and that happen and this?" And I say, "Oh, don't go there. This. I don't let anybody try to tear down Trammell and Whittaker friendship, relationship, baseball world just because Trammell's in the Hall of Fame and Lou's not. I don't let anybody go there. It's not Tram's fault. This or that. Hey, I'm happy for him. If it was ever happen, but I do something that's so much more, and it. Here it is. This probably said it right here for me. I know when 1995 retired, 2000 was my year. And when I didn't get any didn't even get the votes, I was content. I might have had just a thought of like, wow. But I've never paid attention to it. I mean, you don't get something, you don't get something. The winner. Let's say the winner, the winner don't always win the race, or the best athlete don't always win the race. Time and unforeseen. He runs, pull a muscle, somebody trips him, this or that. That's unfortunate. But when I didn't get the votes, and all those years went by, I was content. I was good to go. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they started talking about this war stuff. And, I didn't know anything about this war stuff. Now they talking about, it's like somebody's looking for a player, and then all of a sudden they keep seeing Lou Whittaker's name. Man, every time I turn around, Lou's name popping up. They looking for whoever. Lou Whittaker again. And all of a sudden, my name started popping back up in war. And, people have told me, and I've been looked and say it got war between Reggie Jackson and Johnny Bench. Imagine that. Smallest thing in baseball back in the day. These guys were legends in their day, Reggie Jackson and Johnny Bench. And here it is, Lou Whittaker in between these two guys, legends, you know what I mean? And so if it had not been for war, my name wouldn't be even in the conversation anymore. That war stuff brought this stuff all back up, brought a headache to me. Now I'm here now.
Lou, what I want to tell you is the great thing about baseball fans, fans that know the game, you are a Hall of Famer to all of them. Just like I used to tell Pete Rose. Pete used to complain to me. Pete was a dear friend of mine. That much. I said, Pete, you don't need the Hall of Fame. Why would you need the Hall of Fame? You have more hits than anybody in the history of baseball. They need you to validate they're the Hall of Fame. And I feel the same about you. Any knowledgeable baseball fan knows you're a Hall of Famer, whether you're in or not. Does that make sense?
Yes. My thing is about Pete Rose, too. I say if anybody belongs in the Hall of Fame, Pete Rose, he got twice as many hits as everybody.
Absolutely.
He had 1,000 hits more than everybody. Like
100%.
Anybody belongs in the Hall of Fame. But yes, I mean, and that's the thing. Maybe that's another reason they don't like, because I always said Pete Rose belonged in the Hall of Fame. So maybe that's another strike against me. But hey, it's when you walk into a Major League Baseball clubhouse, they got a big sign on the door. As soon as you walk in, every minor league, Major League Baseball, no gambling. Yeah. Big sign, all the rules, no gambling. And I heard the two biggest people against was Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench, his teammates. So they if those two men had basically say, yeah, because they got, some people have a lot of influence, carry a lot of weight, in certain areas. They speak up for a certain person, and they carry a lot of weight, And so, if anybody, I always said Pete Rose was going to go, well, see, and the thing is, as you mentioned, Pete would have loved to at least see that, you know what I mean? Some way, some form, some fashion. And, but, if he would always get mine, hey, in some sports, they off the field didn't matter. It's what they did on the field. And Pete, what he did on the field was, hey, 4,000 hits. I don't know how many All-Stars. I mean, maybe 20 All-Stars, played 24 years or so, 25 years.
He's the only guy to start All-Star games at 5 different positions. Now think about that.
Yeah, well, I used to see Pete all the time, different places, and we would talk, a little bit. And, I always say, man, hey, he's a Hall of Famer to me. Oh, shoot, hey, he's 3-time Hall of Famer to me.
Yep.
Yeah, shoot, he got 3 times more hits than me. Well, two to 4,000 hits. That's a lot of. We say it's a lot of knocks.
Yeah,
a lot of knocks.
Well, you had plenty, and you're with a bunch of guys that Bob and I have had this conversation. If you want to get Bob riled up, there's a few guys on your roster from the '84 championship team that aren't in the Hall of Fame that have numbers that are close enough to at least be considered, but haven't gotten over the hump. And you're one of them. Your catcher there, Lance, Darryl, obviously, Hal Kirk for the 2 home runs that are probably 2 of the more famous home runs in all of baseball history. The list goes on and on. But would you mind talking a little bit about the '84 World Series? Was there a time in spring training or maybe during that off season where you signed somebody, or perhaps a roster move, or just you look around the locker room and you go, we're pretty dang good?
Well, we were good.
What was that like for you?
Well, we were good. We had just won 100 or 96 ball games. Baltimore, they won 102 or whatever that 83 was. Baltimore went on to win the World Series. We beat Baltimore that year. I think when we played Baltimore in '83, Baltimore ended up winning it all. We probably beat Baltimore. Say for instance, if we played Baltimore 20 times, I bet you we beat them 12. Probably might even beat them more than that. But they were awesome that year, 83.
Yes.
I think that's the year they won. Yeah, they won it, then we won. It was one year, man. Every time we turn around, though, Lowenstein and come off the bench and 3-run homer beat us, and somebody else, the other Renicky, Lowenstein and Renicky, they were both they both left the fielder. I think right-handed, left-handed pitch, but either one of them guys, man, they used to wear us out every time that one of them come off the bench. Boom. That was one of those years. That's when Baltimore. That's when they started. But that's the year I got 200 something hits, and we'll just say this: we played Baltimore tough. We played them very. We had some very competitive games that year. So we knew we were good, or we knew we were moving. We were moving forward. And spring training, we pretty much had everybody coming back. We had Enos Cabell on our team that year. Enos hit 300. Me, Tram, Enos Cabell, 300 hitters. Then when we go to spring training, we pretty much set. We had Lopez was our closer. Aurelio Lopez would have been our closer. But then they made this big trade. They got rid of, they traded a few guys. And we brought in Willie Hernandez and Dave Bergman. So Dave Bergman was the play behind Darrell Evans, first base. You tell 2 left-handers, can you imagine that? 2 left-handed hitters. Usually, if you're going to have a platoon player, you want a right-handed hitter or something like that. But we had Barbaro Garbe. He could play first base against right-handed hitters. And Barbaro had a good year. But that first month, like some people he was coming up a lot of big hits. They kept things going, But the rest of the guys, we started putting it together when baseball season. My thing is, I struggle April, man. It's too cold to play baseball in some of them cities. I'm out there trying to stay warm. I don't even see how I made it through high school, as years went on, playing, in cold weather. But when May comes, the weather starts breaking, and you start feeling your hands and bats, I say, baseball season time. My time now, my time, baseball. But we got we got Darrell Evans that year too. Made the trade for Darrell Evans in '84. So we got Darrell Evans, we got Willie Hernandez, we got Dave Bergman. Those were the 3 big trades, I think. I don't know if we had Doug Baer already, We might have had Doug Bear. We might have got him a year before during a certain time. Sparky was building. But those are three. But then Howard Johnson was supposed to be that rookie third baseman. And he didn't really pan out, but he had a great year coming up with some big hits. But we had Marty Castillo at third base and Tom Brook. And so with the three of those guys, and then Marty was Lance's backup catcher. And so if Howard Johnson, which, he struggled quite a bit those first couple, during that time. That's why Tom Brookins ended up being the everyday third baseman. Brookie always was in the background, just waiting for somebody, but he would always step forward. But we had Tram, and Tram got hurt spring training or somewhere during that time, and Tram ended up being a designated hitter for half the year. So Doug Baker came in to play shortstop and did an outstanding job at shortstop that whole
I totally forgot
year.
that. That's right.
Doug Baker was awesome, man. So it was Doug Baker and Lou Whittaker combination. And the Tram came back in about, I don't know, June, July, something like that, maybe after All-Star break. And then, but we still had Baker back up. And so, I pretty much played every day, maybe not all, but pretty much I never really got hurt played 19 years and never was on the DL. Yeah. We call it DL back in there. I got hurt a few times, but it was at the right time. It was in September. You didn't have to put me on DL. I was out dancing one time, went to a doggone party. I was heading home. Everybody said, "Come on, Lou, it's a wedding party. Come on, Lou. Come on, you can get up in the next day. We ain't going to be out long." I said, "I got a game next in the morning." I was like, "All right, I'm going." And I got out there and on the dance floor, started acting the fool. We were doing the Soul Train line, doing the split, snapped my media collateral, and missed the rest of the year.
No, you didn't. You can't get hurt dancing, Lou. You can't. You can't hurt your knee when you're dancing. When you're doing splits and you're not limber, I shouldn't have even been dancing, period. But anyway, you were doing the rerun, weren't you? You were rerun, weren't you?
No, I don't know nothing about that. We were doing Soul Train.
That's fine.
So anyway, snapped the knee, and so could have been on DL then, but that was in September, so they were calling all the players up. And I think my first year in the big leagues, I was on first base. Rusty Staub was on our team. Hit a line drive to first base, so I tried to get back and sprained my ankle. I missed about 2 weeks, but they didn't put me on DL. I followed the team. They didn't send me home. I followed the team, lagging behind on crutches. Then when we got out to California, we went to a doctor out there because we had another guy had to drain his knee, so they had this big old long needle draining. I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, oh my goodness, about to pass out. And then they checked my foot, see if anything was broke, just swelling. But 2 weeks. But the thing about it, the Tigers never would put me on DL, but I worked my way back. Get in shape, they always knew that was my history. If I got hurt, I worked and got ready to play. So, but 1984, everywhere we went, we won. And the thing about it, Tram used to tell me, he'd say, "Lou, you know who beat us twice that year when we were doing all that winning? Brett Saberhagen, a rookie. Kansas City. He beat us the first time, broke up the record at home, and he beat us another time." And I didn't even know that. And he said, "Brett Saberhagen." I said, "Really?" And I said, "Uh-oh." I say, I got something. I'll wear Brett out the rest of my career. I got him lots of times. They said Bo Jackson told me one time, he said, "Lou, man, Brett pitched an awesome game. I had a game-winning home run off him. I think it was a home run, base hit, whatever, home run." And Bo said Brett went in the shower with all his clothes, just stood under the shower for about, I don't know how long, just soaking in the shower. We were in Kansas City, and he would say, "Lou, come here. He say, 'Hey, Man, you hit that home run off of Brett, man. He went in the shower and he soaked for I don't know how long. For some reason they were over. We were playing Kansas City and they came over to our hotel, hanging out there around the bar or something that particular day for just a little while. But we just, So anyway, yeah.
Well, you beat them in the ALDS, right? And then you end up going to the World Series, your first and only time. Was there what'd you have, just a couple of days to prep for it, to get tickets, maybe family or friends? And how does that work from a business standpoint? I know the playing aspect of it is, hey, you just got to show up, but, to get your family and all that, did the Tigers do everything to take care of that so you guys didn't have to worry about it?
Oh, well, yeah, that's always. I mean, they always take care of that. It might be a lot different today, but none of my family came. My wife's mom and dad, whatever, they came to the game. My mom didn't come to the World Series, I don't think.
Well, you opened the same. Bob was were you at game one, Bob?
I was at game one. Daryl got me tickets to both of the San Diego games. What a thrill that was to see my best friend play in the World Series. What a thrill.
Oh man, it was something else, I tell you. And, that's why he came to Detroit, and that's why Sparky went to him. Sparky needed a left-handed pull hitter, basically a pull hitter. He looked for pretty much a dead pull left-handed hitter, first baseman. Darryl was available, and Darryl was, I think they said Darryl did a little research to see, check us out to see if this is where he wanted to, play, because, I don't know how many more years, a couple more years he played. And maybe 3 more years, 87. He was he on that team in 87, I think?
Yeah, 88, yeah. Hey, Lou, Darryl always said, of all the he played for the Giants for 8 years, for the Braves for 8 years. He said Detroit was the favorite place. He said it was a sports town. He met his beautiful wife, Diane, there, who was a sweetheart. And he just loved Detroit. You know what he told me? The first day before the season started, they took him to a Detroit Red Wing game, and he said they announced him and they gave him a standing 5-minute ovation at the Detroit Red Wing game. He said, "This is my kind of town." He loved Detroit. He lived up there in Grosse Pointe. He loved it.
Right. Yeah. That's right. He and Bergman and Gibson and Roseman, all them guys, they were out there in the area. Pio DeSalvo was even out there. Yeah. So yes. It was, it was a year to remember. It's a year we won't forget. But that's where the wave started also. And that's probably why he loved it so much. He probably never saw. They started waving around the whole stadium before the game even started. And they didn't stop until the game ended. And then they continued to wave. They probably waved on going home.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's where that started. I mean, I'll never forget it. But, we had to focus. But, I mean, around the stadium, you could all year long. If we played 81 games plus the playoffs and World Series there, every game, I mean, and they did start because we started on the road that year. So we had already won about 16 games and lost one or so, because we were 35-5. So when we got to Detroit, see, they were already like, we got us a team. I mean, it just took off. I've seen them try to duplicate the wave in the stadium. Never can. They get it about halfway, a third, this and that. Never can duplicate it. They get 7, 8, 10 rows, and then it just fades. It went around Tiger Stadium, around Tiger Stadium, around Tiger Stadium, around Tiger Stadium. It just kept going and going and going. If you were there, I mean, they're having a party while we're out there playing baseball. I mean, they started, beach balls and all of that stuff. I mean, Detroit was
unbelievable.
Yes, it was. It was a year. I mean, unfortunately, when you're playing, you got to stay focused. I used to tell guys, I saw some guys when they first come to our baseball team, like Cecil Fielder. When he first come to Detroit, and he was starting to do real good and hitting home runs. Now he's starting to get all of this recognition. And now he's starting to play around. And people this and that. I say, Cecil, stay focused, man. You just don't know. And I was trying to always say, man, stay focused. Because what you're doing right here, you'll never get another opportunity to do something this magnificent. And, sometimes, because sometimes, you can just let a player, they're going good, and so you say, hey, let them go. Let them do what they want. But see, they lose that moment. And, he still kept himself, having his fun. But maybe I said something to him that, like, stay focused. And, Cecil, he became a legend in 3 years in Detroit. He come in, people used to come just see him hit home run. I've been there 15 years. They don't come see me hit no home run, take batting practice. They come in, pack the stadium, hit batting practice. What? But that's sports, And when you get an opportunity to do something, don't let it slip away. Don't let it slip away, because you only get one opportunity. And that's the thing is, we were playing so good, and we could have lost focus ourselves in '84, because when people always say Tigers 35-5.
Unbelievable.
But they just don't know. Toronto Blue Jays just subtract add 3 losses, so they would be 32-8. It's not too shabby, right there. 32-8. We're 35-5.
I didn't know that.
They're 32-8. They were only 3 games behind us.
Unbelievable.
And it was like that all the way the whole season. Dave Bergman, we just had different guys get big hits. It kept us going. Otherwise, Toronto was all into us. They were all into us. Bergman hit this big home run, 18 pitches or something like that off of Roy Lee. Howard Johnson, I think, hit a big home run in Toronto. Somebody else, Johnny Grubb, might have got a big one on one day. Those games kept us 1 game ahead. Say, for instance, if we were 3 games, if we lost, we're down to 2. No, that got us up to 4. Those games gave us breathing room. It allows us, because if we probably got to 1 game or tied for first place, who knows what might have happened, we played too good for so long to all of a sudden just, all the air just come out of us. It's like, that's what a good team can do. When they're on you, they can just suck the air right out of you. And but these guys, like I mentioned, I know Bergman hit one. I think Johnny Grubb hit one. Big home runs, and it might have been the same back-to-back in Detroit. Bergman had like a 11-pitch hit off of Roy Lee. That was one of the big ones. But those hits like that at the end and the early hits, guys coming off the bench, they gave us what we needed. Yeah. But our everyday players, I know sometimes when I talk about the bench so much, other players like, Lou, what about us, the starters? I say, hey, don't worry, we here every day. We did it. But give those guys that credit, because that credit, they love it when they hear their names. When I bring their guys' names up, because I never talk about Lou Whittaker, he did this, that, I had a great year, we did this, do that. I say Bergman, Johnny Grubb, Barbaro Garbe, Juan Berenguer. I bring those guys' name up, man, they love it. They like, man, give me a little dap, like, thank you.
Yeah.
And it worked, everybody contributes. And Bob said this at the beginning of the show. It's just, there's so many different guys that you come in the 7th or 8th inning, you get a base hit. And the next thing you know, you got to run. Instead of a tie ball game, you're up by 1 and you close it out. And day after day, week after week. You had a really good lineup, and then you get in the World Series, and you just it seemed like the Padres were glad to be there, and you guys were going to beat the crap out of them. I mean, we look at every one of their guys, and the exception of you and your height, but we have a big line. Well, I can stand across any guy. I've got give me a second to find it. There's a picture that I'm going to show in just a second. Just you get to Detroit. You know, here's the Padres. You're in the foreground here on the left. You know,
5 against 1.
Greg Nettles in this picture, Templeton and Gwynn and Garvey, right?
Oh yeah.
And then right here, you got look. I mean, Daryl's going and it just everybody's clapping for one another, and you're loose. And at the beginning of a ball game, and you're lining up off third base, and you just look. You're oozing with confidence. Can't wait to play in front of our guys. And you talked about the line going around Tiger Stadium. That was at a different time, but my goodness, what a roster.
Yeah. Hey, once in a lifetime. We thought we could come back and do it again, but we go out to Oakland. It's like early in the season, 2-3 weeks into the season. We go to Oakland, and Willie Hernandez blows out his pitching arm.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, that was something else. But we thought we could do it again. We thought but it's so hard to come back and just do exactly the same thing. So you have to put a little something different in your game, the way you play, this and that, the way you carry yourself. It's tough, but look at some of the teams. But they always trading. They always make that one trade. I'm thinking about the Dodgers right now. It's like they keep just getting better because they keep getting the number one player that just had the greatest year in the game. I think for 3 straight years they've only got the best player. Yeah. Hey, you can only. What can you say? But Tigers never like that, I don't think the Tigers ever went out and got the best player in the game. Never. Never. Shit, when we got Cecil Fielder, we got him from Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, Cecil come out of Japan. They needed they needed somebody to hit some home runs, and Cecil's over in Japan. That's when Bill Joy goes over there and gets Cecil Fielder, and they bring him to Detroit.
Hey, Lou, I learned something every time we come on this thing. You know what I learned today from listening to you?
What's that?
I forgot. So the Tiger record, 35-5, will never be broken in my lifetime. It's never was there before. But I didn't realize that Toronto would hold the record if you guys hadn't gone 35-5. Am I correct?
I don't know what the records was, but we were 35-5, they were only 3 games behind. Everybody else was 10, 12 games out.
Wow.
Everybody else 10, 12 games out. Because I know when Baltimore come into town, I got a base hit. I'm on first base. Eddie Murray say, Lou, you think we should start the season over? They were about 20 games out. 35-5. Most teams, 35, 20 and 15.
Yeah, or 25 and 15. Yeah, and they're out. They're done.
Yeah, that's still way out there, but no, everybody was out except Toronto Blue Jays. Every time we played Toronto Blue Jays, it was a dogfight, and Toronto Blue Jays had some great players, and they went on to win a few times with those players too. Mosby and Barfield, Bell, Jimmy Key. My man Dave Steve.
Yep.
Ernie Whitt used to wear us out. Ernie, wow. And so, but they had a pitching staff. They had it all, and we were just better. But when I think about it, no, it wasn't just a walkway. People think it was walkway. No, it wasn't a cakewalk. And then when we go to play Kansas City in the playoffs, we are playing against 3 rookies, pretty much 1 or 2 years in the big leagues. Saberhagen, Danny Jackson, Gubazov.
Wow.
They were all rookie, and Black, Bud Black was with them.
Quisenberry was still young enough to. They had a good lineup now.
Yes, and then you got all the guys. Willie Randolph. I mean, not Willie Randolph. Willie Wilson. Kyle McCray, I think, was still there. George Brett.
Daryl Porter behind the plate, right?
Daryl Porter and Waltham. Both of those guys back there. Yeah, and in the I think I forget first bases they had, but I was just talking about this guy just the other day, Big Willie Mays Aikens.
Yep.
Talking to somebody about him. And the shortstop. Huh?
He played with the Angels. He broke in with the Angels. Yeah.
He did. He ended up going to Kansas City for a while and hit a ton of home runs. He used to wear us out too. Everybody used to wear Tigers out. Everybody used to wear us out. But we got our share. They wear us out, but we got our share. It was good. It was good. Love the game. Love the players. Love their style of play. They played the game hard, played it respectfully, competitive. I have nothing. When I played there, I have nothing negative to say about guys who played in the time. They some good ball players.
Absolutely. Well, you get your championship, right? I got a couple pictures here. You get back to Detroit. You take care of business. I'm not sure if I should mention the Gibson home run, but that kind of, to me, was like the icing on the cake. There's been talk about Gossage and Dick Williams. Dick wanted to put Kirk on, and Goose says, "No way, I got this guy. I'll 99 out of 100 times, I'm going to get him out." And it wasn't quite that good, but Kirk hits the home run that, for obvious reasons. Well, let me find it. Okay, so here's kind of celebrating this a little bit, but you get to do it at home too. What was that like? The celebration, getting on the field. Here's the home run here. There's another picture I've got. Give me a second. I'll pull up the next one. From the plate, rounding first base, just ready to touch it. The umpire making sure he touches base. Just so many cool things about, one of the more historic, and it's your championship. You get to be a part of that. You don't have to worry about Toronto anymore. You don't have to worry about Kansas City. You got your own. Yeah.
It's pretty well. We had 3 more outs to get. Otherwise, I don't think because if it was the game-winning home run, if it was a game-winning walk-off, if it was a walk-off, it would have been a little different. So we had to go out and get 3 more outs because the last out was hit to Larry Herndon.
Yeah.
Somebody flied out to Larry Herndon. He got make that caught that last out. So it was memorable year, very memorable. It was a hard-pressed year. Everywhere we went, we had Detroit fans all over the hotels. Yep. You couldn't move without a full house every game, no matter where we went. There were Tiger fans, but there's Tiger fans all over California. You'd be surprised. We used to actually, in '84, I think we probably had more fans than California Angels did. Everybody.
Well, they come out when they can, and it's such a rarity. And they've had a couple of good teams since, but nothing like what you guys were able to put together. And you got the Yankees and the Red Sox and everybody else that they're vying for their chance to get there as well. So it was a rarity, but very special in the parade and everything. And it puts you in a special boat. You're always going to be a world champion when you get invited back to anything. You're a world champ, and that's one of the cool things about it. All that hard work, and from the time that you were a little kid, those extra hours, and it's amazing.
Yep, it all paid off. It worked out, and did something that sometimes very few ever get a chance to do.
Absolutely.
So, I loved it, appreciate it. From the time I was a little one, we used to win a lot of championships. and got to win the ultimate Major League Baseball World Series championship. That's it stands out, very, very much stand out. I never, well, you know, and that's why you go out there to play. You want to do that, and I know the fans. Wow, hey, they had a great year. They had a great year, just as we had a great year. They loved it. We loved it. It was it's something to always appreciate.
Hey, Lou, talking to you, the great thing about that year, it brings it right back to me today, talking to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, Lou, what keeps you busy now? You mentioned your age. You get a little older. You're throwing out first pitches and doing other things. But seriously, what keeps you busy and gets you going in the morning?
Well, just like this morning, I got up, got myself prepared, dressed, went over my daily text, looked for a scripture to use with the group in the field ministry out of the Love People book, Truths We Teach as Jehovah's Witnesses, and took the group out got the group ready for door-to-door ministry. So I had a brother with me today, 4 sisters worked together, and there were 2 that went out in do the cart work. So you guys know about the cart work, Jehovah's Witnesses. When you walk by, you see a cart on the street, that's Jehovah sharing his kingdom good news with you in the quietest, most respectful way you could ever imagine. Through that literature over there, it's trying to tell you something that you do not know yet, but you still have the opportunity to learn what it all means, because one day, just like we as athletes try and hope and wish to make it to that professional level, so the same thing with that kingdom good news is all people must know that Jehovah is the true God. And so that's what I started studying in 1981, I think, 82 or so. And, I had my, doubts about this and about that. But as I started to learn more and more and more, I had to do something. As my wife used to say, now you have the truth, do something with it.
Do something
now,
with it.
See, some people don't know what the truth is. See, they think, oh, well, everybody got truth. No, God's word is the truth, that Bible. So it encourages us to read it, not just to read it, but to meditate on it. Think about what it means. How does it draw you closer to Jehovah God, the true God? And what does the future? Who do we put our trust in? Do we put our trust in man? Or do we put our trust in God's word? And so we offer free home Bible, and we use this word instead of studies. We use free home Bible discussions. We're there to discuss, to see how the Bible applies. Like one day somebody said, the news tell us what's happening. The Bible tells us why it's happening. So I had to make some changes, and I, had some problems over my days in my life, but Jehovah's always there, reaching out, say, Lou, just get back, get yourself up, dust yourself off, get back on the road to life. And so that's what we do as Jehovah's Witnesses all around the world, a unified group of people. We're all in harmony with what the Bible teaches. It's amazing to know that there are over 9 million. Then people may disagree and this and that, and you got the others and this and that. They know. When they read Psalm chapter 83, in the 18th stanza. They learn God has a name, not just we get into all these discussions and people want to debate. Nope, we don't debate. The Bible's already said it, made it very, very clear. We learn and put that information into practice, and then we move forward. So I don't want to just keep stumbling over my words and this and that. Free home Bible discussions offered, no charge, no commitments, just to draw closer and closer to our Creator. And then it's up to each person. We all have free will. It's up to each person to make that choice, what they're going to do with it. Their choice. Their choice.
Well, many blessings to you and all that you have done to keep your life right and do everything that you can for your career in the big leagues for 19 years, and then your commitment to the game itself. From when you were a little boy at a 10-year-old level, you were playing organized baseball, and you've done it for so many years and so well. And Bob, thank you for bringing Lou on. I know that you and Lou have been friends for quite a while, and what a great contribution to the show.
Are you kidding me? You know, what you were just talking about, Lou, before you said anything about that, I already knew it because you show it. And it's just been an honor to have you on this show, and so much fun reminiscing about all the Doug Bakers and the Tom Brookins and all these different players. It was just great to hear you. And God, I can just tell you're living the kind of life you were just talking about just by looking at you and hearing from you. So it's just been an honor to have you on this show. And I can't thank you enough, Lou.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, we appreciate Lou Whittaker being on, and boy, say a prayer that the folks at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown will change their mind and allow a man like him to be a part of the great history of the game of baseball. He's certainly deserved it. A world champion and also a champion in life. Thank you, Lou Whittaker. We want to say thanks to everybody who's tuned in here today. This has been the Sports Page with Bob Case. I'm Harper LeBel saying thank you for tuning in and being a part of 100 Yards of Football and under the umbrella of the flagship there. So for Vincent Turner, for Bob Case, for Lou Whittaker, we want to say thank you for tuning in, everybody. You have a fantastic rest of your day.